It is 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of November, and I'm standing outside a big old school that looks like something out of a horror movie in Hamilton, Ontario. It is so massive it looks like it's at least 5 stories tall, and it's under construction, so there's lots of holes in different places where windows should be. It's lit in some places, and there's plastic tarps kind of blowing in the wind. And so this is my 4th week of working on a film, and it's my first night shoot. So if you're not a filmmaker, you should know that most people hate night shoots. We're exhausted, the turnover is nasty as hell, because we start daytime, then we move into night. Everybody's a zombie, there's way too much coffee going around, and everybody just wants their bed. It really sucks. And so usually my job requires me to be on set at all times. But unfortunately for us, our porta-john leaked sewage all over a residential street, creating beautiful little shitsicles for the residents of Hamilton. And so our permits were revoked. And so all of the production trucks and trailers are in this parking lot outside this school, and I am here alone because my job is to work with the camera footage, and my computer is in the back of a truck. And so usually what should happen is there's a driver outside my door at all times, safety first. But tonight he's been called away. I don't really mind. I don't mind being alone. I was always that kid that wanted to watch Hellraiser and Halloween at sleepovers. So I'm not really somebody who scares easily, typically. And so right about now is about the time where I would get a text or a call from my camera team letting me know we've wrapped and the footage is on its way with a driver. I'm not hearing anything, so I'm pacing around. I turn on my walkie-talkie. I message the team. All I hear is crackling. Send a text, I don't hear anything. Okay. So usually when there's delays, that's about the time I would take a boredom cigarette break. But unfortunately for me, I quit smoking the week before. And I am nowhere near the craft table, so there's no candy or Coca-Cola to feed my addiction. And so all I can do is just go for a walk in the cold to keep myself awake. And so I'm pacing around this parking lot through all of the trailers and the trucks. And at one point I glance up at the school. And when I do, one of the construction lights flickers as if somebody had walked by. And so I'm immediately hit in the chest with adrenaline, and I freeze. And I'm looking at all of the windows, and I'm waiting for something, a noise, anything, and there's nothing. And so I'm like, okay, obviously it's just in my head. The plastic should have just been blowing around, something like that, it's fine, okay. So I go back to my truck, and I lock the door, and I text the producer of the movie right away, and I say, hey, tomorrow, necessary that somebody is here at all times, safety first, right? And she texts back immediately, of course. And so the next night, it's 2 a.m., and the shoot has gone really well, everything's on time for once, people are in good spirits, we had a great lunch. But I'm sitting in my truck alone, because this is what happens when you work on a Canadian independent feature film with a low budget and small crew. And so I'm sitting in the truck in the dark, browsing Reddit as one does when you're waiting to do something, and I hear a bang, bang, bang on the back of my truck. And I jump out of my seat and I say, hello? Is anybody there? And I hear nothing. And so I tiptoe to the back of the truck. And it's quite a long truck, almost like a transport truck. And I grab a camera battery that's charging. And I grab the door handle, and I raise the battery right over my head, and I whip open the door. And there's a terrified driver standing there who's a daily. He's a daily, so he wasn't told of the protocol of calling me and letting me know. And so at least I have my footage now, and I can get going, because I have a couple more hours of work to do in this nighttime, and I never see that guy again. So I'm in my truck, I'm doing my work. I finally finish up, takes me about an hour and a half, and I text a driver. He's got to take a drive to the post house, so I hand that off to him. And he says it's going to be about 10 minutes. Perfect. Great time to go and warm up my car. So I open up the door to the back of the truck, and as I'm locking it, I'm clocking that it smells a little smoky out here, like somebody's having a nice fall kind of barbecue or a bonfire. Cool, that's nice. And when I step down off the truck, I notice that there's an ominous glow coming from underneath the truck. And so I drop down to my knees, and I bend down and look underneath the truck, and somebody has piled a bunch of leaves and trash and lit it on fucking fire. It's on fire. There is a fire under my truck. And so immediately I'm sweating and I'm shaking, and I have my walkie-talkie and I scream, "Fire, fire, the camera truck's on fire, somebody help, please, please, please help." And I hear crackling. And I whip out my phone, and I'm already so sweaty that as I'm trying to make a phone call and even unlock my phone, it's just not working. The screen is not responding. And so I'm like, oh my God, there's like $1 million of equipment in this truck. I have to do something. So I go back into the truck, and I'm running around, and I'm trying to find the extinguisher that the assistant told me where she was hiding it on the first week, but I never listened to that, and I regret that. I hate myself so much in this moment because I just need a fire extinguisher, and I can't find one. And I grab my phone again, and I just wipe it on my pants, and I'm about to dial 911 when I hear tires screeching outside my truck. And so I go to the back, and I look out the door, and I see a convoy of Dodge Caravans flying into the parking lot. And out of each caravan comes an old dude driver with a fire extinguisher. And they just take out that fire, and they are my heroes. And so a few minutes later, one of the drivers comes up to me, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just shaking. And I'm like, "Can I please have a cigarette?" And so he gives me two, and I chain smoke them all the way home. And so the next night, it's 2 a.m. And I'm standing outside of this camera truck that was determined not to be damaged enough to return on the last week of production, okay? I am completely alone in this parking lot because, of course, I am. And I am chain smoking because I've had about enough of this damn production. And so I'm pacing this parking lot, and at one point I glance up at the school again, and I notice that one of the lights that was on earlier isn't on anymore. And so I'm dragging off my cigarette, and I take a couple steps toward the school, and as my eyes adjust to the darkness, I see in the window the figure of a woman. And I freeze, and immediately I can hear my pulse in my ears, and I can just feel myself drenching in sweat. Because I can't quite make out what she's wearing, but I can see that she's tall and she's staring right at me. And so I'm watching her, and she's watching me, and we're watching each other. And I gotta blink soon, and I'm scared what's gonna happen if I blink. But my eyes are getting dry, and I blink, and when I open my eyes, she's gone. And so I run my ass back to my truck, and I get in there, and I lock it, and I put a chair up against the door, and I sit there with my phone and my walkie-talkie in my hand, and I stare at that door, and I am there for what feels like hours. And finally, I get a text that the driver is outside, and he has my footage. Oh, thank God. So I go out to meet him, and he's like, "Hey, Seth, you look like you've seen a ghost. You've been through quite a lot. You good?" I'm like, "No, man, I think I'm seeing things in this parking lot. After yesterday, I don't know what to think. Can you stay with me tonight? Like, it'll be an hour and a half, but I'll make you a good coffee." And he was like, "No, I gotta take the cast home. You're on your own." And so I'm in the truck. It takes about an hour for the footage to download, so there's nothing for me to do but sit and stare at this door and listen for any noise outside of this truck. And after that hour goes by, I have to sit at my machine where I sit in the dark and I look at every clip of the footage and log any errors, anything else that the editor might need to know. And so every clip I watch and I color correct, I turn around and I look at that door just to make sure that nothing has changed. And so finally, I get through this movie. Technically, this is the last night. I'm wrapped. No one's around to celebrate. There are no beers. There are no celebrations. It's just me by myself in the dark. And I text my driver, and he gives me the 10-minute ETA. And so I pack up all my things, and I say goodbye to this truck that is probably never going to see another production again because it is so charred on the outside. And I go outside, and it's time to warm up my car. And so I get down off the truck, and as I'm walking across the parking lot, I hear crunch, 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 crunch. And so I stop, and I listen. Crunch, 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 crunch. I think that is coming for me. I can hear it. It's way down across the parking lot, but whatever's coming is coming, and it's coming fast. And so I turn around to look. And out of nowhere, this completely dark parking lot is lit up by this massive light that is coming from behind my truck. And in front of it are 3 figures that I can't make out, but they are coming toward me, and they are coming fast. And so before I even know what I'm doing, I'm running. I haven't even thought about it. I'm already running away, and I'm trying to get to my car. And I'm like, holy fuck, I don't even know what this is. At this point, I will take the hard drive myself to the post house. I just got to get out of Hamilton. And so I get to my car. Just get out. And so I get to my car, and I'm fumbling with my keys, and I'm trying to get it in because I don't have a fob. I was driving an old Impala. I'm just trying to get in, and I'm looking back, and I'm seeing that they're coming closer, but I can't make out what they are, and I just don't want to know. And I finally get that car door open, dive inside, lock it up, and I just hunch. And then I decide to peek out the window to see what's coming, but it's frosted from the -20 kind of November night that we're having. So I just see shadows, and I see that they're coming quite fast, like they're on a mission, but they go right by my window, and I'm like, oh, this is so much more relieving than any cigarette could ever be. And so I'm sitting there, and I can still hear my pulse in my ears. High blood pressure is dangerous, so I have to meditate for a moment, just keep it together. And so I just close my eyes, and I breathe in, and I breathe out, and when I open my eyes and I look out the window, they're coming back toward me. And I'm like, oh my fuck, I'm gonna have to fight these ghosts. And so they approach my window, and I'm about to brace myself because I think they're gonna break the window. And I hear this tink, tink, tink on a window, like a ring on glass. And I'm like, wait a second, that's a human thing. And so I roll down my window as fast as I can because it's not motorized and I'm quite cold. And standing outside my window are 3 human beings, 2 women and a man in their 20s. They are wearing all black. They have the coolest goth makeup I've seen, cool green hair, pentagram necklaces. One of them's holding a video camera. And I'm processing what's happening in front of me right now because I thought I was going to die 7 seconds ago. And instead, there are some goth people here. Okay. And one of them holding the video camera says, oh my goodness, we've been trying to scare you for days. We've been filming a ghost hunting show, but we couldn't help ourselves when we saw you all alone. This was way better than the footage we got. And I'm sitting there, and the adrenaline shifts from fear adrenaline to rage adrenaline. And I can feel my fists just curling, and I'm like, hold the fuck up. Did you light my truck on fire? And one of them is like, oh no, we saw who did it though. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna call the cops. And the one holding the video camera turns to her friends and is like, guys, if we get arrested, they're gonna take our footage. We gotta bail. And they just run away. They turn and run. And they run in all directions. They're just gone. And what's great about it for me now is they were running so fast, but in their platform metal boots, they're rolling ankles. One of them falls. I mean, just worth it, right? And so when they're out of sight, I open up my pack of cigarettes, I light one up, and after that first beautiful drag, I vow to never work a night shoot in Hamilton again. Thank you.